This is the Louie T Network.
The Redskins report.
Look, last week, the Eagles did something that was genius. I talked about it in my last video. They came after Robert Griffin III because they knew we did not want to run read option. They knew we weren't going to run read option. They knew we did not want him leaving the pocket. And so they were able to come after us. And they came after us relentlessly. And I think that's something that the Packers are going to take a look at. And I don't think they're going to come after us as much as Philadelphia did per se. But I think they're going to see what the Eagles did, and they're going to try to mimic a little bit of what they did and some of the things they had success with, mainly those A-gap blitzes right up the middle. The worst pressure you can have as a quarterback is the pressure that's right up in your face, right up the middle of the field. There's nothing worse than pressure straight at you. Defensively, look, we're going up against Aaron Rodgers. We're going up against Aaron Rodgers, man. I don't know what to say. I don't. I know this for sure. We can't allow the Packers to run the football. They haven't had a 100-yard rusher 3 seasons ago. So from that standpoint, we can't allow them to run the football. We have to stop Eddie Lacy and Jonathan Franklin, whoever they decide to put in the football game at the running back position. We've got to stifle them. Make Aaron Rodgers beat us. And I hate even saying that because he can beat us. He's done it time and time throughout his career. He can beat teams by himself. And he's had to do that basically throughout his career because the Packers haven't had a steady running game since he's taken over as the head man in Green Bay in terms of the quarterback position. And so it's hard to even say that. It's hard for me to fix my lips to say that, but that's what we're going to have to do. Stop the run, make them one-dimensional, and then see if we can kind of bottle him up like we did in their Super Bowl season in 2010 when we were able to really stop the run, forced Aaron Rodgers to beat us. We gave him a concussion. We were really aggressive with those guys in Washington. And we were able to eke out a 13-10 or 16-13 victory. And so if we can play that style of football, we'll have a chance. But this Packers offense has evolved since the last time we saw these guys. They're a much better football team, much better offensive team. And so we're not going to be able to get away with the same antics that we had 3 or 4 seasons ago when we played these guys the last time up at FedEx. So it's going to be a different challenge, going to be tough, but I expect us to give it a run, give it a go. Welcome all my fellow Redskin brethren and sistren. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Why does it feel so wrong to be right? I didn't want to be right. But I knew this was coming, and I can't say that I didn't, and that's why I was originally going to come up here and just go slam off. I was just going to come up here and go on one of my classic rants like I did after week 9 last year after that Carolina loss. I was just going to come up here and go nuts, just rant. And I've done it on the Redskins several times on this program where I just go slam off and I just talk about everything. I'm unfiltered and I've reached my limit, but I haven't reached my limit and it's not necessary right now. We're only in week 2 and so it's not necessary. I'm not going to come up here and just go off. It's not necessary. One of my rants isn't a necessity right now, but I will say this. There are a lot of problems right now. There are a lot of issues that we have to iron out. And as a group, we have to come together and everyone has to get on one accord. Everyone has to get on the same page. And we got to figure some things out because you could point the finger at the offense. You could point the finger at the defense. You could point the finger at the special teams. You could point the finger at the coaching staff. Everyone has culpability in this football team's struggles early on in this season right now. Everyone's to blame. Everyone's at fault. There's not one person you can look at and say, hey, you've done your job flawlessly. There's nothing that you can improve on. Everyone has a hand in the struggles early on in this season. Every single member of this organization. everyone. And so that's the frustrating part right now. It's hard to take positives from what we're seeing on the football field right now. It's hard to be able to pull a couple of things away and say, all right, well, at least we can build upon that, because even the things that you're looking at as positives right now are insignificant. They're irrelevant. You can't even take them away and feel good about them. Alfred Morris rushes for 107 yards on only 13 carries. While that's great, it's insignificant. It doesn't mean anything, because a lot of his rushing yards came after the Packers had taken their foot off the gas pedal. You look at Roberts' numbers, he threw for well over 300 yards again, but just like in week 1, a lot of his passing yards are insignificant. They came when the Packers really didn't care. They were willing to give up yardage. They were willing to trade yards for time off the clock. And so it doesn't matter. Pierre Garçon, 8 catches, over 100 yards. He looked good. He played well, and that's one of those positives that I'm willing to accept. But again, a lot of his yardage came when the Packers had already said, okay, we've done our damage. Now we're just trying to do damage to the clock. And so while those guys played well, it's all insignificant in the long run. And so it's hard to take any positives from this game. We didn't force turnovers. We didn't do anything in this game that you could say, all right, hey, we can take this, apply it to next week, and maybe we can have some success. And so another frustrating performance to watch on the field. But again, the only reason that I'm not overly mad is because we played a really good team, and I expected this. Last week, I was a little bit more disappointed than anything. I was able to laugh off last week because I was blindsided. I didn't see that one coming. And you chalk it up to a number of things. Guys have to work the kinks out. This was something that we hadn't seen before. We weren't really prepared for it, yada, yada, yada. I was able to laugh that one off. This week, it wasn't funny. It just wasn't funny. It was embarrassing, and at times, it was hard to watch. And so let's just get right into it. Let's talk about how we were beaten 38-20 on the road against the Green Bay Packers. And look, this is a really good Green Bay Packers football team. I talked about that last Friday in the preview for this game, that it wasn't going to be easy, and I didn't expect us to win. And here's why. So let's start the game out. And first thing you'll notice is first play. Okay? First play. And last week I asked for Brandon Jenkins. I said, where is Brandon Jenkins? Why isn't he playing? Okay? He played in the preseason. He was getting pressure on the quarterback. They need to have some kind of sub package for this guy to get on the field. There's no excuse why Brandon Jenkins shouldn't be on the field. If he's active, which he's going to be active every week if he's healthy, because he's going to play on special teams as well. If he's active, he needs to be on the field in some capacity trying to get to the quarterback. There should be some kind of sub package where he, Kerrigan, Arakpo, Jackson, when he comes back, when all of these guys are on the field trying to get to the quarterback on any given third down. And so first play out of the gate on third down in terms of the first possession, they try to get him on the field, and this is what I asked for. I asked for Brandon to get on the field. 3rd and 6. We got a chance to get off the field. Come on, Brandon. Offsides. Can't happen. Can't happen. Your first time getting in the game defensively, you want to get an offsides penalty on a quarterback and team offensively that doesn't need any help. We don't need to help them at all. They don't need any of our help. They're good enough as it is, as we will find out in this game. They don't need our help. Get out the game, Brandon. Get out. They shoot him out of the game, and I was telling them, take him out. Take him out. If you can't be disciplined enough to watch the football and not jump off sides, then you got to get out of the game. We can't have miscues like that. We're not good enough as a defense. We're not good enough as a football team to have you jump off sides. We're just not good enough, simply put. And so, get out. And so, I didn't see Brandon Jenkins. I don't know about you. I didn't see Brandon Jenkins the rest of the game. And I wasn't mad about it either, because that really pissed me off at the beginning of the game. So that was an ominous start to this game, I think. I think that was really ominous. I think that was like sort of a precursor to what was to come in this football game. Missing tackles early, and that's a theme. That's a theme with this team defensively. And they were missing tackles early, and it just continued throughout the game. I could keep saying that throughout the course of this whole breakdown. I could just say missing a tackle, missing tackles, missing. So missing tackles, I could take the early off of that if I would like to, because we just missed tackles in this game. It wasn't just early in the game. We missed tackles, period. And our cornerbacks can't tackle. And that's one of the biggest issues you can have on a defense, because once you get into the secondary, there's not another line of defense. The secondary is the last line of defense. If you can't tackle in your secondary, you're in trouble. You're going to give up copious amounts of yards. And Wilson can't tackle. He was just flying around out there. He wasn't wrapping anybody up. He was just diving. I hope I hit something. And he wasn't hitting anything. Wilson wasn't tackling. Hall, he's never been the best tackler, but at times he can get you on the ground. He wasn't getting players on the ground in this football game. Emerson was missing tackles, and that was surprising, because the one thing I have been able to count on from David Emerson is him sticking his head, his shoulder in there, and grabbing someone and getting them down on the ground. He didn't do that in this game. And the one thing you can't do against the Packers, because Aaron Rodgers is a smart quarterback, he's going to get the ball in the hands of his receivers quickly. How many times did we see him throw hitches to guys because we were playing 10 yards off, and as soon as he snaps the ball, he just throws the football to Jordy Nelson or James Jones or Randall Cobb. They catch it, make a guy miss, and then they get up the field and get 11 yards. Or they throw a speed out to Jermichael Finley in the flats, and that was one of the most embarrassing plays in this game. He throws a speed out to Jermichael Finley. He breaks 4 tackles before getting tackled about 25 or 30 yards down the field after 5 Redskins have to get their hands on him to get him down. Just absolutely ridiculous. And we have to tackle better, and we just don't. And that's a problem. And against teams like this, who throw the ball at will and will give their receivers opportunities to make plays by getting the football in their hands immediately, if you want to play 7 or 10 yards off, he'll just throw a hitch and let his receiver make you miss because you can't tackle, and they'll get yards. And that's what they did in this game all day long. Kerrigan with back-to-back sacks to hold the Packers to a field goal after they had a 14-play, 70-yard drive to start the game off. And look, I said it last week, and I said it in the preview. I said it in the breakdown last week. I've been talking about it all off season. I've been talking about it all season long to this point. Without Kerrigan, I don't know where we would be as a defense, honestly. I mean, and to think we could be even worse. And if Kerrigan wasn't in the picture, we would be worse as a defense. And it's hard to think that we could be much worse, because we've already given up over 1,000 yards total in the first 2 games. We've given up over 70 points in the first 2 games. So hard for me to think that we could be much worse on defense. But without Kerrigan, we could. Unbelievable. So he's been the one bright spot on defense. Ryan Kerrigan has been that one bright spot. Maybe you could sprinkle in a little bit of Barry Cofield. I feel for him, because if he didn't have that cast on his hand, he'd probably be even more effective. But what can you do? So I talked about this at the top of the show. Talked about it last week. Look, this is a copycat league, and if you can't stop something from happening, guess what? It's going to continue to happen. And our first possession, 3rd down. What did the Eagles do last week? Blitz us up the middle. Inside blitz forces pressure on 3rd down. Bad throw by Robert. We got to punt the football. It's going to continue to happen every single week until Robert starts taking off and running and showing that mobility that scares teams from coming with that blitz, because if he breaks that first wave of contain, he can go like he did against the Vikings. Or B, we start picking it up and stopping teams and stonewalling them from getting to our quarterback, and giving receivers opportunities to win one-on-one matchups and really exploiting these blitzes, or C, we start hitting hot routes and eating up the blitz. Until we start doing something to deter teams from coming after us on third down, guess what? They're going to keep coming with these blitzes up the middle of our defense. And so, inside blitz forces pressure, bad throw by Robert, we got to punt. It's going to keep happening. That's a recurring theme in this game that I could continue to say. Every 5 or 6 lines, I could probably say that in this breakdown. But I don't need to. I'll break it down here, and I might say it once or twice more, but you get the picture. It's something that's going to continue to happen. It happened all day here. It happened all day against Philly. It'll happen all day next week against Detroit too if we don't clean it up. Sav Rocca, bad punt, 25 yards. I could say this the whole entire video. He stunk on Sunday. He was funky. And he's got to clean that up. All right, look, when we gave him this deal in the offseason, I myself wasn't a huge fan of this deal because I'm not a huge Sav Rocca fan. I'm not. Okay? He's 40 years old, or however, he's old as dirt. He's not athletic, so if someone gets out in the open field, he's not going to tackle anybody. And another thing, to me, he's not that good of a punter. He's average. But he was our average punter, so I was willing to ride with it. But if you're going to start kicking balls 25 and 30 yards every time, you got to go, man. I don't have any tolerance for bad special teams play, especially when it's unforced errors. I don't have any tolerance for unforced errors. And this is an unforced error when you just kick the ball out of bounds 25, 27, 30 yards without giving the special teams unit an opportunity, or when you want to kick the ball straight to the guy and give him a chance to return it up the field. I don't have any patience for that because you're not giving us a chance. It's bad enough we're not getting it going on the offensive end. You're making matters worse by putting the defense in a bad position, and you're not giving us a chance to get a stop. You're not giving us a chance to push the offense back and put them in a precarious situation and give us an opportunity to get stops on the defensive side of football. You're giving the Packers great field position, a team that, once again, does not need our help. They're good enough already. They don't need our help. So he's got to be better. And he wasn't good last week either, trying to kick away from Deshaun Jackson. He was kicking it out of bounds 25, 30 yards up the field. You got to kick the ball better than that, Sav. And he stunk today. He stunk last week. He needs to get his act together too. This has been a collective effort in terms of us just being porous as a football team. Special teams has let us down. Offense has let us down. Defense has let us down. Coaching, and I'll get to that in a second, they've let us down too. We have been just abysmal in every facet of the game. Beautiful blitz produces sack by Rack. And look, early on in this game, we were getting to Aaron Rodgers, and that was what was keeping us in this game defensively. We were getting to the quarterback. We had 3 sacks in the first 2 possessions, 2 by Kerrigan, 1 by Arakpo, and that's what we need to do. We need to get to the opposing team's quarterback, because you see, when we don't get to the quarterback, we can't hold up in that back end. We couldn't do it last year. We're not doing it right now. This is shades and reminiscent of last season, early on, when we were giving up huge plays in the back end and we were getting torched and quarterbacks were throwing for 400 yards on us like you drink water. Okay? That's how we were giving up big plays and chunks to quarterbacks last year, and we're doing it again. And we went out and made all these moves in the offseason to be better as a secondary. They haven't paid off yet, but these are young guys we're relying on. When you're relying on young guys, this is what you get a lot of times, especially when your young guys aren't first-round selections. So you get what you get. And I'll get into that a little bit later. Let's just keep going right now. Pressure again on third down. Bad throw. We forced a punt from the Packers. We get the football back. And once again, pressure on third down. Bad throw by Robert. We're off the field and we got to punt again. Another bad punt by Sav Rocca. This time, the Packers get really good field position. And what do you think they're going to do with that really good field position? How many times do you think you're going to keep giving these guys the football 30, 35, 40, 45 yard line. How many times do you think you're going to be able to do that before Aaron Rodgers starts to shred you? Huh? How many times do you think you're going to get away? This isn't our offense where you get the ball at basically midfield and can't pick up a first down and have to punt. This isn't our offense. This is the Green Bay Packers featuring Aaron Rodgers. Are you going to keep giving them the ball around midfield and think they're not going to do nothing with it? Are you crazy? So, great safety blitz by Brandon Merriweather. Great. We get pressure again. Rodgers has to throw it away. It's now 3rd down and 3. Great defense on 3rd and 3. But they're in that no man's land because of the bad punt by Sav Rocca. They picked up 1 first down, and all of a sudden they're right around that, hey, we're in field goal range, but I don't want to send Mason Crosby out on the field for a field goal attempt. And it's only 3 yards, and we're the Green Bay Packers, and I have Aaron Rodgers. How about we just go for it? 4th and 3, Cobb TD, 10-0. Really simple. It's really simple. A regular team here, maybe they don't go for it. But we're playing against the Packers. And so they're going to be aggressive. Guess what? We have to match their aggressiveness. Because field goals and punting isn't going to win us this game. To beat the Packers, we're going to have to score some points. They lost a week ago to San Francisco. You know why they lost? Because San Francisco scored points. It's not like San Francisco stymied and stifled them on the defensive side of football and this game was 20-16. No, San Francisco knew, hey, to beat this Packers team, we got to score 30, and that's what they did. Well, we needed to have that same approach. Be aggressive. The Mike Shanahan that I knew last year, aggressive. All right, hell, we're at the 42-yard line. It's 4th and 4. It's 4th and 5. Hey, offense, stay on the field. He has absolutely no confidence. I'll get to that in a second. I'll get to that point when it comes. Let's just keep it going. So we get the football back. 44-yard pass to Garcon on a wide receiver screen. Great. A little bit of life shown by this offense. So in the blink of an eye, 10-0. We get a little bit of yardage here on this 44-yard pass to Garcon on this wide receiver screen. Offensive linemen were moving. They did a great job of getting up the field. They kind of got in his way a little bit because if Trent Williams isn't in front of him, I don't know if he doesn't just turn on the burners and score a touchdown here. But he had to get away from Trent Williams, and that allowed the defender to come from behind and get him down. But those guys were out there running and hustling. I can never knock a guy for hustling down the field, and that's what they were doing. So great play. We pick up a huge chunk. We're now in Packers territory. We're close to scoring range. Let's get some points. Let's show some life in this game now. Okay? So, after that situation, we do nothing. Next 3 plays yield us nothing. Maybe 5 yards. It's probably about 4th and 6 or 7 or 5. Doesn't matter. We're at around the 42-yard line or so, too far for a field goal. Maybe we're at the 35 or something. Either way, a little too far for a field goal, a little too close to punt. We're in that no man's land, sort of like the Packers were when they decided to go for it, and they got a touchdown. So you know what I'm thinking? Mike's going to be aggressive like he was last year. Mike's going to say, hey, offense, stay on the field. We can't afford to punt, and I don't trust this kicker, this Potter guy. I don't trust him. I don't know you. Who are you? You were with us in the preseason. You're a nobody. That's why you got cut. That's why you're not in the league. I told you I didn't want to go to the scrap heap because you can't rely on these guys. John Potter, we didn't keep him for a reason. And so I don't know you. You're an outsider. Don't put this clown on the field. That's what I was feeling. So, no, you don't send him out here for a 40-something, 50-something yard field goal. You let him sit on the sideline. Keep kicking into the net. Go for it. Mike was supposed to be aggressive, roll the dice. That's the Mike I was looking for. The Mike from last year. The Mike that wasn't afraid to take a chance. Hell, you go for it, you get it, cool. If you don't, all right, defense, get back out there. We're playing against the Packers. You think punting is going to help us in this situation? Huh? You think kicking a field goal and missing is going to help us in this situation? If you're going to kick a field goal and miss, you might as well go for it. So, instead, he, in a quarter, changed Mike's mind because the offense was on the field. And I said this to myself as we went to commercial break. I said, Mike's going to change his mind. I guarantee you, when this camera comes back onto the field, the special teams unit and Sav Rocker is going to be on the field to punt. I said, I know Mike is going to clam up on me. He's going to punk out. And sure enough, they come back from commercial break, and guess who's on the field? Sav Rocker. I said, I knew it. I knew Mike was going to punk out on me. So we punt the football. Sav kicks it to the 10-yard line. And this was one of the stories of the game for me. Penalties. Penalties on special teams. Not just penalties. Because we had a lot of penalties in this game. We had a lot of penalties. We were killing ourselves. But it was penalties on special teams that was really, really frustrating me. Penalties on special teams really, really aggravates me because it does a lot of different things. Number one, you get penalties on special teams. When you're punting the football, you're giving up field position right away. Okay? So if you work hard to flip field position and your punter gets it inside the 10-yard line, and then you decide you want to get a personal foul, or your gunner wants to run out of bounds and not come back in bounds, gets an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. When you decide to give up yardage, you're giving up the field position that you worked so hard to push that team back into. Okay? So if, for instance, let's just use an example from the game. We punt the football. Mike should have went for it, but he punked out on me. Okay, fine. We punt the football. They were going to start at their own 10-yard line, were the Packers. Hey, look, if Aaron has to go 90 for a touchdown, great. He can go 90, trust me. He didn't have a problem going 90, but it's better than him having to go 75. It's better than him having to go 70. It's better than him having to only go 55, which was probably the case most of the day, but he would have had to go 90. This is when you know it's bad. When your long snapper is getting in on the action in terms of penalties. Nick Sundberg, and I watched the play unfold, I said, okay, he just held the guy. He tackled the dude, basically. Okay, that's one flag. I saw the official throw the flag, so I knew what that was for. Then Nick decides he wants to go down the field and get a late hit and get a personal foul. What the hell are you doing, Nick? You don't get the liberty of getting personal foul penalties. You don't get you're the long snapper. You don't get to get penalties. What are you doing, Nick? Okay, so they started at 25 now instead of starting at the 10 like they were supposed to. And it was just amazing to me how everything just was bad in this game. Everything. So Merriweather gets a concussion. And he gave Eddie Lacy a concussion. And I don't know how he didn't get a penalty for launching, because that's what Brandon Merriweather does. He's a headhunter. And when you're a headhunter, you giveth, like he did to Eddie Lacy, and you taketh away, like he did it to himself, using his helmet. And when you headhunt, you're going to get hit. And you're going to light yourself up. You're going to knock yourself out. You're going to knock other people out. And he's been a headhunter his whole career. And all I could say, when he went down, the legend of Merriweather continues. That's all I could say to myself. Because we keep talking about this guy. When he comes back, he'll help us. And every time he comes back, he gets hurt again. And we keep waiting for this guy to come back. And we keep talking about the difference he'll make on this defense. Man, forget about Brandon Merriweather, man. I'm so sick and tired of this dude coming back for a game or half a game, playing well, and then leaving again. Who knows when he'll be back? This guy has had concussions in the past. This isn't one of those situations where he'll pass protocol and be back against Detroit. We probably won't see this clown until after the bye week, man. I'm sick and tired of Brandon Merriweather. And when he comes back, he'll strain a groin, pull a hamstring, run into somebody in pregame, and we won't see this clown for another 4 weeks. And then when he finally gets back on the field, we'll get a half of football before he's gone for the season. I'm done with Brandon Merriweather. Because at the end of the day, while he makes a difference, he doesn't make that big of a difference. He's not going to clean up all of the ills and all of the woes we have in that secondary. He can't cover people. He's not a corner. He can tackle, but he's not going to tackle for 4 different guys in the secondary. He's only one man. He's not going to clean up all of the deficiencies. He's not Sean Taylor. He's not going to make up for all of the deficiencies in this secondary. And so at the end of the day, for me, the legend of Brandon Merriweather is no more. It ceased to exist. This dude is injury prone. He can't stay on the field. And if he's not playing, then you are of no help to me. None. No help to this football team. And so I'm done with Brandon Merriweather in terms of building him up into this larger-than-life figure that we need to help us win. Forget Brandon Merriweather, man. He ain't helping us at all. And so Packers go down the field and they score again. And this one was sickening because they had already scored a touchdown. We caught a break. They called a penalty, brought it back for holding. And honestly, I really didn't see the hold on the play. So we caught a break. Didn't matter. Jordy Nelson just scored again. And so it's 17-0. And at this point now, you see the writing on the wall. You see where this game is going. It's heading quickly towards how that Eagles game was, where you saw us starting to get blown out. You saw the confidence slowly leaving this football team. You saw the frustration starting to set in. And that was apparent by Rack being fired up on the sideline. And what you have to understand about Brian Orakpo, one, very competitive guy. That's why I love Brian Orakpo. Very competitive. He hates losing. I hate losing too. If you condone losing, if you're one of those people that, oh, we'll get them next week. We got Detroit. Let's just move on. Then you need to get out of my face because I'm not trying to hear that. Because that's girl stuff. That's what girls say. Oh, it's okay. We'll get them next time. No, we won't get them next time. We need to get them right now. And Orakpo, what you got to realize with him, he wasn't a part of the winning last year. He wasn't a part of us winning the division. He got to watch. He wasn't in the game helping us win. And so he was so anxious to get back on the field so he could help us win, so he could be a part of us winning. And so it's frustrating for him because when he was playing, when he was healthy, we sucked. When he gets hurt, we're good. He comes back, we suck again. Oh, no, we suck again. Yeah, we suck again. And so it's frustrating for him because he thought he was going to be a part of a winner. That's all this man has ever known before he got to the Redskins. In Texas, all they did was win. In high school, all he did was win. He's been a winner all his life. And so when he came to the NFL and he's been playing for the Redskins and he's been losing, that's not in his DNA. He doesn't take losing lightly. And I love that about Orakpo. And he's getting fired up because if they're not getting pressure on the quarterback, guess what? This secondary is getting shredded. And it's unfortunate because we can play good defense and the secondary still have breakdowns. It doesn't matter. We can get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, him slide out of the pocket and buy a little bit of time, or we can get pressure on Aaron Rodgers and somebody comes free, and instead of them tackling a guy for a 3-yard gain, it turns into a 17-yard gain because 3 guys missed tackles on the play. It's frustrating. It is. When you do your job and the other guys don't do their job, and Mike Shanahan keeps saying it after the game in the press conferences, all it takes is one guy not to do his job and everything falls apart. Both sides of the football. Special teams as well. One guy doesn't do his assignment correctly, everybody has to pay for it. And it's unfortunate. But Rock was fired up on the sideline. He was kicking his helmet. He was fussing at guys. He was screaming. I don't blame him because it's frustrating. It is frustrating to work hard and not be able to reap benefits of it. It's frustrating. After a first down to Joshua Morgan, Packers blitz on third down. What do you know? The Packers blitz on third down. Didn't see that one coming. They tip a pass, and we got a punt again. What did you expect when you didn't pick up the blitz at all last week? You don't pick it up again this week. If we would have beat the Packers on their first attempt at blitzing on third down at the beginning of the game, they would have stopped blitzing. But you know what we did? We fell into the trap of allowing them to get away with blitzing, and they kept doing it all day long. What did you expect them to do? And so now we got to worry about it going into the next game against Detroit in week 3 because they're going to watch film on Philadelphia. They're going to watch film of us against the Packers, and they're going to see that these guys had success blitzing up the middle, blitzing from the outside against us, getting to the quarterback, forcing errant throws. And what do you think they're going to do? They're going to copycat. They're going to mimic what they saw, and they're going to do it too. And if we don't clean it up, it'll have the same effect then as it did now, as it did last week. So, as soon as the Packers get the football back, pass rush doesn't get there. So you know what that means. Pass defense gashed again. Long pass to Jones, which leads to a 24-0 lead because Jeremichael Finley catches a touchdown pass on D'Angelo Hall in the end zone. I mean, at this point, I don't know about you. Game was over for me. Because, A, we're not slowing down this Packers offense. That's number one. They're not the Eagles from last week. They're not going to turn it off and can't turn it back on. This offense can turn the switch on and off. So if they decide to decelerate, trust me, if they need to, and they showed us at the end of the game when we tried to make it interesting like we did last week, they just turned it back up. And they could have scored, easily could have scored 50-some points in this game if they wanted to. They didn't want to. They could have easily amassed 600 yards total offense in this game, but they didn't want to. Aaron Rodgers could have thrown for 500 and some change in this game, but they did not want to. Okay? So, miss me with we came back and we played better in the second half. No, we didn't. They just didn't play as good in the second half. They didn't want to in the second half. They took their foot off the gas pedal because they could. Okay? So, miss me with we started to come back and we played better in the second half. No. You got soft coverage. That's why Robert was able to do what he was able to do. That's why Alfred was running all over the place. Because they decided to take their foot off the gas pedal. Much like the Philadelphia Eagles did in week 1. We didn't do this on our own. When they were playing for real, we didn't do anything. We didn't score any points in the first half. So, I don't want to hear any of that nonsense. So, you look at the ensuing kickoff. This is what I'm talking about. We get the football back and we're struggling. We're struggling already. No need to beat yourself. Don't kick your own self while you're already down. That's what we did. We don't even make it to the 20. And that's another thing. We're still struggling on special teams because Chris Thompson is still running laterally. He doesn't understand that the end zone is straight. It's not that way. That's the sideline. That's not the end zone. End zone is that way. Not that way. And so he's running toward the sidelines, not towards the end zone. And so we're not getting to the 20 on most occasions. We're getting to the 17. We're getting to the 13. Well, Logan Paulson decides he wants to block in the back. What that essentially means is now you're starting from the shadow of your own end zone again. And we seem to have been living at that back portion of the field when we got the football. Hard to dial up plays when you don't have confidence in your football team from that close to your end zone. Last year, it was nothing for us to get the football at the 7-yard line, start our drive at our own 7, and have the first play be play action fake, 17-yard gain, and we're out of the shadow of our own end zone, and we got this thing up and running. The confidence isn't there with the passing game. The coaching staff isn't dialing up those plays anymore because they don't have the confidence that we're going to be able to pick up a blitz if they decide to blitz or that we're going to complete a pass. They're scared that the ball is going to tip off someone's fingers or Robert's going to throw the football 10 yards over everyone's head straight to the safety and we're going to be in trouble. And so everyone's scared right now. Everyone's walking on eggshells and it's just not a good look right now for us. So we start to drive deep in our own territory. But luckily enough for us, Alfred Morris gets it going. AM gets it going, picks up a first down or two, and all of a sudden, we're in business. We're in Packer territory. And yeah, feeling good about this one. Even though we're already down 24-0, all is not lost if you can get some points here on this possession. You get a touchdown, stop the Packers before the half. Guess what? We get the ball after halftime. It's not over yet. Even though I felt like we couldn't come back. It wasn't even about winning at this point because you're down 24-0 to the Packers. You're not coming back. We're not a comeback team. We're not a come-from-behind football team. That's not what we do. When's the last time we've been down double digits in a football game and came back and won? I can't tell you because I don't know because that's not what we do. So winning at this point for me wasn't the most important thing. Getting some offensive flow and rhythm while it still mattered, while the Packers were still trying, while the Packers still gave a damn, that mattered to me. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for us to show life while the Packers are still treating this like a regular season game, because at some point they're going to go to preseason mode on us. And at that point, I could care less about what we do then. So let's get some points while the Packers still care. And just when I said that, Pierre Garçon drops the football, Joshua Morgan drops the football. On Pierre Garçon's drop, I could cut him some slack. There was some heat on that one. That was a fastball that was high. Robert needs to bring that down more so to his frame, not have him stretching outside of his frame to catch it while he's on a dead sprint going in a different direction. I could live with that one. The Joshua Morgan one, though, unacceptable. Catch the football. And I remember last year distinctly saying, hey, this guy might have the best hands on the team. No, he doesn't. He's dropped the ball way too many times this year. And I'm disappointed in Joshua Morgan right now. And he's in a contract year. And if he's going to continue to play like this, he won't be back on this roster next year. Because we've got other guys that can step up and drop the ball. If you want to drop the ball, we can put Aldrick Robinson or somebody else in the game to do that. So he's got to step up. He's not been playing well at all. He's got to turn it up. And I'm really disappointed in Joshua Morgan. His ball tips off his hands on fourth down, leads to a pick. I mean, that's the type of day it was anyway. And that's how we've been playing all season long, with no confidence. Not making the extra plays. We're not helping out the quarterback. We're not helping out the defense. We're not doing anything right. And so we get back on the field defensively right before the half. Emerson misses a tackle. Packers are going in for more points. And if not for Jeremichael Finley trying to stretch out and get a touchdown and D'Angelo Hall hitting him and dislodging the football and it hitting the pylon, they get more points before the half. Luckily enough for us, he fumbles. It's a touchback. It's not 31-0. It's just 24-0 at the half. Either way, it really didn't make a difference. 31, 24, it's all the same. We were getting our ass handed to us. So it was all the same. It really didn't matter. So they go to the half, 24-0. And at this point, I was done. I wasn't taking any more notes because the game was over in my mind. We were done. As a football team, we were defeated. You could see it on the field. You could see the demeanor of this team that we were defeated. Offensively, we weren't getting it done. Defensively, we were defeated. They knew Aaron Rodgers had our number, and there was nothing we could do to stop him at this point. The man had well over 300 yards passing in the first half. He only had about 3 or 4 incompletions. He already had about 4 touchdown passes, or 3 touchdown passes, excuse me. We were getting gashed on the ground. We couldn't do anything right, and so the game was over. So I didn't need to take any more notes. And then we come out in the second half, and they forced me to take one last note. And it says, nothing after the half. Niles Paul penalty on special teams after Packers were going to have to start at their own 10-yard line. And so here we go again. Having an opportunity to pin the Packers deep and make them drive the football on us. Instead, Niles Paul loses his cool on special teams, which we did all game long. Give them the football back, and we give them 15 yards as a consolation prize as well. Here, it's not good enough for us to have to give you back the football because we didn't do anything again. No. Here, take 15 yards as well as giving you the football too. And so, I mean, it was just frustrating for me watching this team unravel the way they did in this football game. We didn't show any discipline. We didn't show any continuity offensively, defensively, on special teams. We didn't show anything in this game that was worth taking into the next game. And so you can talk about what Robert and this offense did in the fourth quarter and late third quarter. I don't care about that. I don't want to talk about that because that was insignificant to me. That it didn't matter. Those 20 points that we put up in this game, insignificant. Those were 20 points that meant absolutely nothing. Those 20 points stopped us from being shut out, is what it did, essentially. And we saw John Potter get in the game and miss a field goal horribly. He's not going to be a help to us, so the faster Kai gets back, the better it'll be for us. But look, essentially, I'm not going to keep you here too much longer because there's not a lot of stuff left to really pull from this game. Look, as a team, we're going to have to make some changes. And let's start with the coaching staff. We got to be more aggressive. Got to be more aggressive. Got to run on first down. We got to get back to the basics. run on first down, not put yourself in third. We're in third and long too often. We're in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10. Got to stop being in 3rd and long. We got to get back to 3rd and manageable. Last year, we were aggressive on first down because we made our opponents be on their heels because they didn't know if the pass or the run. We don't have that option right now. They're not afraid of read option. They're not afraid of Robert. The threat of Robert taking it out of the backfield isn't there right now. And teams know that. And so we have to go back to traditional offense. Run the football with Alfred, get 4 on first down, run it again on second down, get 3, make it 3rd and 3. We got to be able to string together consecutive positive plays. We'll get 7 yards on first down rushing and then lose 3 yards. Well, now it's 3rd and 6. I mean, that's manageable, but if you're in 2nd and 3, you shouldn't end up in 3rd and 6. And so we got to be able to string positive plays together. We're not doing that. And I'm not going to lie to you. At one point in this game, it crossed my mind that maybe Kirk Cousins should be playing. I'm not going to lie to you. But to anyone that thinks that that's the answer at this point, it's not. I'm going to tell you right now the reason why it's not an answer. Because you already came forth with Robert. You've already went forward with Robert. If you were going to play Kirk Cousins, he should have been playing from week 1. And honestly, looking back, and hindsight is 2020. Looking back, it's so easy to say this now. But he probably was the right move. Going to Kirk Cousins and letting Robert heal. Because if we're not getting the Robert from last year, then we're not getting anything. We're not getting anything that's going to help us. We're getting nothing. We either need all of Robert or we need none of him. And so right now we're stuck in that middle portion. We're getting some of Robert, but it's not enough. And putting in Kirk Cousins, some of these passes that are incomplete, he would complete these passes. Drives would be extended. I think the offense would run a little smoother, but you can't go from Robert now. You've already committed to him. You can't decommit from Robert at this point. All that would do was just cause a firestorm. If there's nothing wrong with him health-wise, then you can't take him out the game. So anybody asking for Kirk Cousins, stop it. Because it's not going to happen, and it would only cause more turmoil in D.C. So the fact of the matter is we went to Robert from day 1. Now we got to stick with him through the good and the bad. And we just got to wait till he's able to iron out all of the wrinkles and really get all the kinks out now. We just got to stick by him while he's struggling. Because he's struggling. He's struggling. He's not reading the field correctly at all times. He's not making precise throws. He's not having that mental clock in his head. Like, there was a particular play in this game where they blitzed. And I know he had to see the defender. I know he saw Devon House not get picked up. And he just turned his back as if he didn't see that defender at all. I mean, the defender was right in his face. The running back, I want to believe, whiffed on the block and went around him. And he had to know he was coming. I honestly don't know what he was thinking on that play. He was just going to go away? He was going to evaporate? I don't know. But he's not making smart decisions with the football. He's not getting out of the pocket. And how about we as an offense, as a coaching staff? How about we move the pocket a little bit? The man isn't crippled. How about a bootleg every now and again? I mean, we're not moving the pocket at all. I was surprised to see this pocket move on one particular play when he went out and bootleg and threw it to the flats. I was like, wow, we actually move the pocket now? I mean, we're not even trying to change the location of where Robert is. We're just keeping him in the backfield. We're just keeping him behind center. Teams know where to find Robert Griffin III, and we can't win like that. We can't win like that because we're not good enough right now. And so a lot of different things are not going right now. And until we clean up the defense, and I don't know what's going to change from now until next week. I don't know how we get better. I mean, last year, the only thing that changed between us losing in Carolina and us going on a 7-game winning streak was confidence. Same players were on the field. Same calls were being made. Guys just played better because they were confident. And so we're missing that element of confidence. And when you're not playing well and when you're losing, you're getting blown out, you lose confidence. You lack confidence. And so nothing is going to change between then and now until we start making our own breaks. And right now, we're not making any breaks. We're making mistakes. And until we stop making mistakes, this coaching staff gets aggressive again, starts having confidence in the players being able to make plays, until we actually make plays so that the coaches have confidence in calling the plays, and we stop making mistakes, stop missing tackles, stop turning the football over, stop with the penalties. And we're going to find ourselves in this position again next week against Detroit. Another explosive offense that can score points. What do you think Reggie Bush and Megatron and Matthew Stafford are going to do to us if we don't get pressure, if we allow them in our secondary? Break tackles and score touchdowns. So, I'm a Redskins fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. My Redskins spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to the Redskins. And I'll be back Friday to break down the Detroit Lions and what we need to do to get a win. But I'll tell you what, man, a lot needs to change between now and next Sunday if we're going to try to get our first win of the season. And if we don't win these next two games, just looking at the schedule, we don't win these next two games, season is finished. I'm just letting you know, I'm being a realist, okay? Season is finished. So we need to be 2-2 going into that bye. But you can't win two games in one game. One game at a time, and the next opponent is Detroit. Let's focus in on the Detroit Lions and try to get a win next Sunday at home at FedEx Field against a team that we should be able to beat at home. Let's see what we're able to accomplish next Sunday. I'll see you on Friday. Have a good one. This has been another edition of the Redskins Report.
The Redskins Report.